And like I said earlier in the interview, better days are ahead. And it may be looks probably rough right now, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're in the thick of things and someone's saying all of these, don't give up and better days are coming. Da, da. But truly, better days are ahead, and it's all about who you surround yourself with too when it comes to what you're going through.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy TeflonJohn coming to you courtesy of the I Am TeflonJohn brand. And today we got another power-filled episode. We got I would say, when it's your first time on the Art of Reinvention Show, but you did bless Teflon Radio, Teflon in the Morning Show, with me and my co-host. Shout outs to Tammy. But yeah, you did bless that show. So everyone that doesn't know, if you live in Lynchburg and you've been under a rock, I would like to welcome y'all. I'll introduce you to Daniel Barksdale, playwright extraordinaire. So if you want to take like about 30 or 40 seconds just to tell people who you are.
So my name is Daniel Barksdale, and I'm 28 years old currently.
Young.
And yeah, praise the Lord. 28, and I am a singer, songwriter, and then also I do play productions. So, yep. Been doing singing since I was 5 and doing the plays since I was 16.
Gotcha. So you double two-edged sword. Okay. So
look at God.
So it says that, you began your singing at the age of 5. So give me a memorable moment of an experience from your early childhood days.
Of singing or just?
Yeah, singing. That kind of made you passionate in the arts of singing.
So basically my church was having like a Christmas talent show or whatever, and they needed some people to participate. And my aunt was singing like Showers of Blessings, and I heard it seemed like every Sunday. And so I got up there and I sung Showers of Blessings, and I didn't really know how to end it. So it was like 7 or 8 minutes. And my aunt was beside me because I was kind of scared. And she was like patting, my shoulder, trying to tell me, all right, it's time to wrap it on up. But just seeing everybody at the end of the performance really get into it, and just, it just really made me feel like, wow, like this is really, really what I want to do. And then after that, it became more performances that I was asked to do. So, and I was like, okay, this is what I feel like the Lord want me to do. And I enjoy singing. And, so.
Okay. So was there a certain singing performance where you was like, you know what, I want to do this thing for real?
Yeah. Like I said, after that first performance, when I was like 5 and then like 6, 7, 8, whatever, like all those performances after that, every church I would go to, people would be there, like, they looked like they were encouraged, inspired, and they were just loving on the gift that God gave me. And, I was just like, yeah, this is it. This is what I really do. Everything after that was like, I feel like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. Because some people singing, they don't make it.
Well, I'm still trying to make it. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like I made it yet.
I'm talking about like Simon Cowell. You are not going to Hollywood. Like,
nah. That's why I never want to do the American Idols, because, back in the day, I felt like, I don't know, if he told me I couldn't sing, I would be like, well, I guess I can't sing. Let me go on, do something different.
Do something different, huh? So when it comes to singing, how did that translate into you like developing that creative mindset? Because I know we know what you do in playwright. You had to develop scripts and stuff.
Yeah.
So by you starting to sing first, how did that translate?
So basically, my uncle would buy like these bootleg Tyler Perry DVDs, and
everybody had the bootleg.
Everybody got the bootleg, and especially when you went to go get your hair cut.
Yeah,
because the dude be in the corner with the box. With all the DVDs. And that's when I was younger. I used to watch those things like religiously. I would just watch, one after the next, and just seeing like how he did all of his shows and stuff. I was like, wow, like this is that. I think that sparked the creativity when it came to the plays, because then I would like write like little, mock plays or whatever, and never intended for them to go anywhere or do anything with them until my church wanted a play, like a Christmas play or something like that. But yeah, I think that's where that creativity came from, just watching his work and just how he did his stuff, and just like, wow, if he can do it, I guess I can do it. So,
yeah. So did you ever write music? Like, did you write music before you start writing plays, or?
Here we go with that. So basically, I don't say I can't write music, but I'm not like confident in writing music, which is crazy because most people be like, well, you can write plays, you can't write music.
It's a little different, right?
It is a little different, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because, you know, a play, you can kind of hear the voice in your head, but when it comes to like a song, you got to make sure that it touches people, especially with
Yeah.
gospel music. You know what I'm saying? You got to know what you're saying when it comes to like what you're singing.
Yeah. So
You know
is
what I'm
that
saying?
your is that your genre, gospel music?
Yeah, most
Okay.
definitely, yeah.
So what's a song that you heard that you was like, you know what, I want to try to redo this or put your own spin on it?
Oh God, Alabaster Box.
Oh yeah,
That's one that I sing, and I love singing that song.
yeah.
That and Everybody Ought to Praise His Name. I think the Mighty Clouds of Joy sing that song.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but
I think you're right.
yeah, that one. Yeah, those two songs right there is my favorite songs to sing, hands down. So yeah, I love CC and the Mighty Clouds of Joy if they sing that song. If they don't, apologize to whoever really sing that song. But I love those songs. I love those songs.
Okay. So we talking about storytelling,
Yeah.
and I think you're seeing it now where it's a lot of people, man, like
Yeah.
making movies on Tubi.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people making movies on Netflix. So it's
Yeah.
pretty much how we got gear here or whatever.
Yeah.
So what is the impact of storytelling? Like when you sit down and you're like
It's
writing
powerful.
a play or you're watching TV,
Yeah.
like what do you gather when you watch those DVDs?
It's powerful. I mean, storytelling, because I mean, my thing is when I tell stories of just people who, like if you're going through something or if I'm going through something, whatever, just to be able to tell the story through like a play or, you know, it's very powerful because, you know, people, if they've gone through it or going through it or about to go through it, they can relate to what you're saying or what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So the power of storytelling is just, I mean, more stories need to be told. Things that we talk about, things that we don't talk about.
Yeah.
You know, some things that are hard to watch or hard to listen to. You know, there's so much power when it comes to storytelling. And that's with the plays, I try my hardest to tell as many stories as possible and don't try to shy away from the stories that people really don't want to talk about.
Gotcha.
You know, because that one thing that you don't want to talk about, it could be the answer to someone else's prayer or, you know what I'm saying? It could be healing to somebody else to just be like, hey, it's okay to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because if sometimes you don't talk about things, it's not gonna get dealt with. Right. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you can get through it if you don't want to just open up your mouth and say what you're going through. Because that's how you get help, you know? So
yeah. Now I noticed that in your plays, you a lot of your plays convey a strong message. So
most definitely.
Is there one message that stands out in particular versus another?
I think the power of forgiveness, you know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing is when I was writing a show, I think it was Tempted at the time in 2018 that dealt with forgiveness. I did not know that like 2 or 3 years down the line, I would be struggling with trying to forgive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was in a place where I was encouraging others to forgive, but then years later, I'm faced with this big situation and everything that I talked about on stage, I got to apply to my life. And sometimes it's hard to do that when you can encourage someone else, when you got to go through what you just encouraged somebody else. It's a little different. You know what I'm saying? So
it's easier to coach from the sideline.
Oh yeah, most definitely. When you're going through it, it's a little different, you know? So, and I had to remember everything that I told the audience and making sure that I'm doing exactly what I told them. So that was, you know, the power of forgiveness is probably,
one of your biggest messages?
One of the biggest messages.
So
it's
how do you...
powerful.
Oh, it is?
When you, most definitely. You know what I'm saying? When you
can let go.
And let go and say that you done forgave someone, you know what I'm saying? Or something or whatever.
So how does someone know when they forgave someone? Like
when you stop talking about it.
Yeah.
When you stop talking about it, then, you know what I'm saying? Because people be talking about things that happened like 5 years ago, and they be like, "But you know, I done forgave that person. I done got over it."
Yeah.
But yet you still talking about it. And when you talking about it, it's one thing to talk about something to say, "Yeah, that's what happened to me." You know what I'm saying? But then when you talk about it, and you can clearly see that person still upset about the situation, and you using colorful words, you still hurt.
Colorful words.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let that thing go.
Yeah. It's
hard. Easier said than done. I will say that, but
and then I think
let it go.
Depending on what the situation is. Some are easier than others. You know
but
what I
then
mean?
My biggest thing is too is when people try to put like a time limit on forgiveness.
Yeah.
Or let me say this differently: when people put a time limit on, you know, I guess by this time you should have forgave or you should have gotten over it or whatever. And people heal differently. That's the thing that people got to understand. People heal differently. So what might take you a week to get over might take me a month. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just the thing. You just got to keep praying for people and just being patient with them.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I like how you use plays to get that out because a lot of people not going to have that conversation.
Yeah, most definitely.
What is your strategy for weaving in your personal experiences in your playwrights? Whether it be a personal lesson in life that you learned, or or you seen something else happen,
Right.
and you're like, hey man, it'd be nice for the people to know this.
Right. Well, to be honest, when it comes to stuff like that, I just go out with the Holy Spirit tell me to write. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's something that I've been through or something that I didn't go through, I just go off with the Holy Spirit tell me to write. And then usually like it just comes out to more so toward the end of the show. So when you come into a show of mine, it's just kind of like in the beginning, you don't know where it's going to end, what the message was going to be. But then at the end, it's kind of like when I come out and tell everybody, this is why I wrote it. It comes together at the end. So if I answer your question correctly.
You did.
So,
so in your opinion, right, when we're talking about playwrights, what role does story play into developing a relationship between the audience and you or the actual stage play?
Good one.
So you have you got the theatrics, you got you got your props, but what role does story play into developing that relationship
With the audience?
Yeah. So you say you was getting them bootleg DVDs. We were too. You know what I mean? I was too. So you're developing a relationship, but what role does storytelling play in it?
I think it plays an important part in the shows. Like I said, getting back to what I said earlier, when people can see themselves in the production, you know what I'm saying? Or seeing someone who they know, you know what I'm saying, in the production. So it's really, it plays an important part, I think, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you can identify with a character or something in the show, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what I would think.
Because to me, I think storytelling is powerful because if the story isn't good, no one can connect to it.
Right.
There's a video, it was a podcast, Gilly and Wallow. They were interviewing, I think it was Amari Hardwick from Power.
Okay.
And they were just talking about how important the actual story was, as far as developing the characters. Like you said, you feel like, oh, I know this person, I can identify.
Yeah.
But if the storytelling isn't great, you're not going to retain that audience.
You're not. And I try to make sure the overall story, you know what I'm saying, in the productions are good. You know what I'm saying? So it's just you're kind of, when you step foot into the theater from the beginning to the end, you're kind of captivated. You know what I'm saying?
So do you ever fall in love with a character where you're like, man, this is a dope character. I like to take them and write their own little thing. You know? You don't?
No.
You don't?
By the end, and like I said, I could in the future, but like as of right now, because we do the shows for so long, you know what I'm saying? So we rehearse. I'm kind of embarrassed to how long we rehearsed because then somebody go try to pick that apart. But we rehearsed for a very long time.
Yeah.
So by the time we're doing these rehearsals and shows, and once we go on the road with it and stuff like that, my mind is already to the next project. And usually there are a couple of characters that I have, copied and pasted to new productions, but usually my mind is to something different, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just
like, go to the next.
On to the next thing. Yeah. So once you done seen something for so long and you done done it, it's kind of like, all right, it's been great, but let's go on to the next thing. So
yeah. So you've never had one of your characters where you just they've been received so well with people?
Well, I have. Yeah. There have been a few characters that people have came and said, wow, that character was really funny, or that person really made that character believable. And but like I said, as of now, and it could change, but I just haven't had that we should make a whole show around this one character, or it should be a spinoff or whatever. I just haven't had that, not yet. Now maybe when the Lord gives me more people, when it comes to that are in the seats for these theaters, then it might be something different. But as of right now, nah.
Okay.
On to the next.
Gotcha. So every artist faced some type of obstacles or adversity, challenges, right?
Yeah.
Could you tell me or recount a significant challenge that you faced and then what you got out of that?
Yeah. Well, the biggest one would have to be in the beginning, like I said, when I wanted to do the plays and I felt like God was giving me all these, characters, and I couldn't find the people to play the characters, and I had to fully rely on God. I had to, just say, I know, God, you gave me this great script and 10, 11 people or whatever, and I can only find 5. So where the rest gonna come from?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but that really taught me to lean and trust, in God for him to provide, what I needed. And when I did that, they came, and it came by association, which was the greatest thing, by just opening my mouth and just asking for help, which is so powerful. When you just say, look, putting your pride aside and say, look, I need help. And that's when the Lord started blessing me. So that's when all the people started coming after that.
So what type of strategies do you use to keep you motivated through those tough times?
I would think just the end goal, you know what I'm saying? Just knowing that it's not going to always be like this.
Yeah.
Thinking about, okay, well, once I get past this, I know it's going to be bright on the other side. So that's why I'm always like, no matter what it looks like right now with the shows or music or whatever, I'm just always looking at the end goal. Like once I get over this, it's going to look better at the end. Yeah.
So do you think that's because you have a why or goal that's big enough?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely big enough. You know what I'm saying?
So tell me the importance of having a goal, and this is for other creatives or whatever they're doing. Having a goal that's big enough than the challenge. How important is that?
Very, very, very important. Because I think when your goal is bigger than the challenge, well, if you're passionate about your goal, you know what I'm saying? No matter what challenge is thrown your way, you're gonna make sure that you get to your goal. Especially if it's in your heart, Yeah,
you can ride it out.
Oh, yeah, you're going to definitely, you know what I'm saying? So no matter what's thrown your way, it might, knock you off course for a little bit, but you're going to get back, to it and get to that goal. So, yeah. And that's my biggest thing, I've had a whole lot of challenges thrown at me when it came down to just things with, like I said, the show and music and stuff like that. But I just kept going because I was like, nah, this ain't going to always be like this. Yeah.
And that's a good mindset to have because you're looking at, with the end in mind. Yeah. But you're always accepting that because you're saying it's not always going to be like this.
It's not always going to be like this.
That's where growth takes place. So let's talk about the importance of not only through the challenges, but how important is it to continue to invest in yourself and your craft during the challenge? Because it can be easy to just get, discouraged. Yeah. Why would I invest $300 in this and I haven't seen anything yet? Type deal.
Yeah. You said how important it is to invest.
Yeah. Why are you going through the challenges?
Yeah.
Because that can be hard because you're not seeing anything come to fruition. Yeah. You're not seeing anything grow. But some people would just stop. Yeah. They wouldn't invest in equipment. They wouldn't invest in more playwriting gear, playwriting software or whatever. You know what I mean?
But this is what I say to that. I say, if you wake up in the morning and it's the first thing you think about, you know what I'm saying? And then you go to sleep and it's still on your mind.
That's it.
My thing is, you know what I'm saying? You already invested, but a lot of people, and I think this is the issue, a lot of people don't have that in them. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to be successful. They want to do something, but they just don't have that same drive. They don't have that same, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody else may have. And that's what I always tell people when it comes to things you're passionate about. Like if you wake up in the morning and you can't go a day without thinking about that thing and you go to sleep and it's still in your mind, then that's something that's what you should be probably doing in life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. God didn't place that in you just for nothing. It's for a reason that it's there and you're constantly thinking about it. So, and to me, that's when you really invested, and like I can go on and on about that situation.
It makes sense though, because if you're not passionate about it, I think that's where some people make the mistake of, like for me doing this podcast, you got to set up everything.
Yeah, you do.
You got to tweak the sound, you got to break down everything, you got to schedule the guests, you got to edit. So if you're not passionate about the process
and dedicated,
then you're not going to. Because I think it's easy to fall in love with the superficial things. Yeah. But when it gets deep on that level, and that's why I love people that show the behind the scenes.
Right.
Because it may take a lot of time and effort when you're not going to see anything. It's like watering that same plant every day and never seeing it grow. But you just got to, like you said, with the end in mind, know what it's going to bring.
Exactly.
Right?
Most definitely.
So with going back to challenges, right? So I'm pretty sure challenges produce valuable lessons. So could you give me your top 3 challenges that you went through and a valuable lesson that it came from it and that you apply to this day?
My top 3.
Top 3.
Okay. Started from like number 3 to number 1.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Challenges and that brought lessons. Okay. Let's see. Just with anything.
Anything.
Okay. I'm gonna say patience. You know what I'm saying, was a challenge for me, patience. Because that's number 3. Because I'm a person who wants things quick. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't see it kind of growing, you know what I'm saying, I'm kind of like, I get impatient. Yeah. So if I'm being honest. So that's one. But
So
I've learned.
So with patience, what is like an example?
Ah. I'm trying to figure out how can I say this story.
Yeah.
I think not giving too much stuff away.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to working with different theaters,
Gotcha.
when you're on the road with these shows,
Yeah.
and not hearing back in a timely manner, because you got to report back to 15, 16 other people, and you waiting on one person to give you a yay or a nay, and they look like they taking 5 years to give you one answer, a yes or a no. So that's kind of taught me patience, you know what I'm saying? Like it may be a reason why they taking that long, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of taught me kind of patience when it comes to that. So
okay. So what's your number two?
My number two, I would say
second valuable lesson.
These are good. Because I mean, honestly,
you got patience from the first one.
And patience, yeah. That was the third one.
The third one. So what did you get from number two? Like your second one on the list. Not quite number one, but this is like almost important.
Yeah. My goodness gracious. These are good because I'm trying to think back on all the years that I've been doing this stuff and to see what really stands out. Is just
playwright, singer, don't matter, life.
Yeah. Work. I would say I'm trying to think. You really put me on the spot with that. I ain't gonna lie, because I'm like
that's good though. That's good. You know what I mean?
I don't want to take up too much time. But patience, definitely one. Like I said, waiting on venues and stuff like that. That can get kind of a lot. I'm about to skip to number one.
Okay.
If you don't mind, number one.
So what's your top one?
So the biggest one that I've learned throughout, especially with the plays, is just and I don't want to sound too religious again, but learn to trust in God, because with the tours, it can be mentally draining. I want to say, learn to trust in God and not get discouraged by what you see.
Gotcha.
When it comes to going to different cities and stuff like that. So that's one of the challenges, because we can say, "Oh, I'm trusting in the Lord. I'm trusting in the Lord."
It's easy to say it,
and then you get out there, you're like, okay, well, I got to still figure out how I'm gonna pay this and how I'm gonna do this, how I'm gonna do that with like 15 people in the audience. You know what I'm saying? So that's
So which one of your most discouraging moments when you're on tour?
Discouraging. So I would just say about the people, because I'm in the beginning phase of this, of
as far as touring,
of being in different cities. So Lynchburg, it's a blessing because, I do a show here. We do really well because of the fact that we've been here for so long and people kind of know the brand. They know, what they're going to get. But when you go to different cities, it's a different thing. You can't expect Atlanta to be like Lynchburg, because Atlanta doesn't know you. Lynchburg does, but Atlanta doesn't. So I would say when you get out on stage and you feel like, okay, this is gonna be the show that people come to and they support and and then you get on the stage and then you ask the people to turn the house lights up and then you see the theater less than half full. So it's kind of like, but you got to keep going. Take the bitter with the sweet and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying?
Few, right?
Exactly. And that's what I am. I will say that even though I might get a little discouraged, and I feel like that's just natural, it's human, but I still thank God for, those who do come, because it could be nobody. So I'm grateful for those who God sent. And then I always tell the cast, I say, whoever God sends is supposed to be there. Yeah. So regardless if it's a full house of thousands of people or if it's just 4 people, that's who God intended to be there for that day. And that's who we're going to minister to. And they know when they come on stage, and like I said, if it's and we've had, theaters full of people, you know what I'm saying? And then one city, sold out. The next city, maybe, not that, but maybe like 40, 50, 60 or whatever. So, but they still perform as if it's a packed house, because those people still got to get something just like the full house did. Yeah.
Now, what is the importance of that? Because I do believe in that, whether or not it's one person or 50 or 50,000, so that way when you make your break, you don't have to readjust. So how important is always preparing for if it's a packed house?
Yeah. Like mentally, like always preparing.
Mentally, and giving that performance where you're like, okay, whether it's 1 or 50,000, I got to give my all.
Yeah. I think, well, my thing is, and what I do is I encourage the cast and prepare them before we get out on the road. You know what I'm saying? And I think even when I make it, I want to say, I'm still going to prepare my people, you know what I'm saying, before we get out on the road to let them know, hey, look, it could be good in one city, but you go to the next city, it may not be that great. Or when it comes to even like interaction, you know, it could be like one city is, you know, laughing, singing along, you know, with you. And then you get to the next city, it might not be, might be crickets, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then I've learned to also say to them and to also to myself that people receive things differently. Just because you have a crowd full of people that is, you know, hollering and screaming and really enjoying themselves, and then you get to the next city and they're quiet. Well, they, not to say that they're not getting what they got, maybe that's just how they react to things. And maybe the seed is being planted, and you know, years later, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna grow into something. But you can't say, oh well, because they were like this and now they quiet, you know, they not getting it like they did. No. And I've learned to tell them that too, just because of the fact that we got Carl Jr. want to sit there and mess up the thing now, the little net flying around.
Yeah.
But you know, I tell them you can't focus on that, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody receives things differently.
Okay. So you being a creative, and I know you're doing singing, and you know, you're going on the road, you started off small. Who's an inspirational figure for you? You know what I'm saying? Like who is that guiding light? And what is a piece of information that they gave you that still inspires you to this day?
My parents.
Your parents.
Yeah, my parents, because they always tell me, don't give up, keep going. You know what I'm saying? So my parents would be number one. I will say that. My family, friends, yeah, my parents definitely number one, because they really hear all the ins and outs when it comes to the accomplishments, the highs and everything. And then they also hear the lows too. So my parents, I would definitely say.
So how important is that advice? Yet simple, but don't give up.
Oh, it's very important. We hear it all the time, but especially when you're in the thick of things, and it's kind of like, man, like I'm really going through it right now, you know? And even though I would never give up on my passions and goals, like that, I would never do that. But just hearing that, and just, you know, when someone that you love and you trust, they say, look, just don't give up, you know, better days are coming. In that moment, it means so much. It means so much, especially when, like I said, you just hear it, especially when you're there, like, don't give up, better days are coming.
Yeah, because being a creative person, what I learned about, like, you know, making beats, podcasts, and video, you know, your mind's always going other places. And
always going other places.
And I read something where I think like creative people suffer depression or something crazy like that more than other people.
Yeah.
So
because we go through it the most.
Yeah, because you're always pouring out.
Pouring out. Exactly. Pouring out.
So how important is it for you pouring out literally from, you know, pen, you putting your heart into it, pouring out to other people, directing them, pouring out to the you know, theaters? How important is it for you to refill, and how do you do that?
Very important for me to refill, but I need to I just said very important, but I need to really work on doing it more. Because my schedule, the way it is now, is just one thing after the next. And but now I thank God, because I'm Daniel Barksdale Productions. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to basically allow people to come in the space and to do what I do, so that if there's ever a time where I can't do it because either I'm doing something else or I need that time to recharge, there's people that can still, you know, do what needs to be done so that the job can get, you know, done when it comes to the shows or business or anything like that. So that's what I'm doing now. It's very important, because I haven't did it as much as I want to when it comes to just kind of taking breaks and vacations and stuff like that, because I'm always working. My mind is always going as a creative. Always. Your mind is always going.
It's all 24/7. It's like it won't shut off.
It does not shut off.
You know
Even right
mean?
now, I'm thinking about like, after this, I got to still go home and finish this script, or I got to send this email, or, you know, so it's your mind is always going. But I'm working on trying to just have a day, a week, or whatever, just to myself, so I can just kind of
that downtime.
recharge. Yeah, most
I
definitely.
had a friend of mine, Lynn. I remember when I was doing like the podcast. I would do like motivational videos.
Yeah.
He would say, take an administrative day.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I would have a day where I didn't do any videos, anything, but
wow.
it allowed me to come up with other creative ideas, because I actually had to sit down and let my brain kind of work.
Yeah.
I'd be maybe watching TV or doing something, you know, less creative, but it was like, oh man, I didn't think of that. Or I can see where this thought is fully processed.
Right.
So yeah, I really do think that's important. I think another thing is, I found that collaboration is real good, right?
It is.
So
it is.
has there been any collaborative experiences that that you've had with other people?
Oh yeah, and it's one about to come up. I've never done it before, but I'm allowing a new director to come in and because we have 2 new shows coming out next year, 2025. So one show is being directed by me, and then another show is being directed by a new director. So that's a collaboration that I'm very excited about, because it gives me a time to, like we just said, recharge, step away, and focus on something else while the audiences are getting 2 new productions in 1 year, which I've never done before.
Gotcha.
So, and then it also, to me, it opens up more creativity, so that people are not just only hearing my way of doing things or seeing my way of doing things. They can see someone else's way of doing stuff too. So, which is pretty cool, I feel like.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I know you do a lot in the community, and that's where you start off at, the churches and everything. So what's been the impact on your relationship with the locals?
Very, I think it's been a good impact. I mean, if it wasn't for the community, I would not be here talking to you about the plays today. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important. And they are literally the reason why, you know what I'm saying? You know who I am, because if they won't come into the shows, I wouldn't be right here talking to you. So it's very, the impact with the community is very important. You know what I'm saying?
So what's it like? Share like a dope moment with me that you had like an interaction with an audience member that you will never forget about.
So in Roanoke, we was doing a show in Roanoke, and I always shout out my family. So I'm like, at the end, I'm like, okay, my family, can y'all stand up? I thank y'all for coming. I'm loving on them and stuff like that or whatever, right? This guy in the back, I see, because they turn the house lights up, I see where my family is. So I'm looking, I see them. But there's this random man in the back, and he's like this, like, don't forget about me. And I'm like, you my family? And he's like, oh, no, my fault. So he like sits down. And I'm like, well, no, go on, stand up now. I mean, you done did all that. Everybody looking at you, go and stand on up. But it was pretty funny in the moment, because like I said, I was looking like, is he a cousin, or who is he? Like, this dude all the way in the back and everybody else in the front. What are he doing? But it was pretty fun. At the end, I didn't get a chance to meet him, because he had left. Hopefully I didn't really, disrespect him. But that was pretty cool. Yeah. Interaction. But usually everything else been pretty mild. You know what I'm saying? So nothing too crazy.
Okay. So with artwork, right? Like arts that we do, like whether it's podcast and spoken word, rap, music, poetry, it has the ability to bring communities together. Yeah. Whether it's everybody watching this podcast right now when it's live. Yeah. How does your work do that?
Ask me the question one more time, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So how does your work?
You got some good questions. You got some good questions. I'm telling you, these are some good questions. I'll be like, man.
Yeah, gotta make you think.
These ain't no, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? I'd be like, Chick-fil-A, red. You know what I'm saying? You ask me questions like, whoa,
gotta make you think.
That part. I'm ready though. I'm ready.
When it comes to like you starting local and now people know you, and like I said, different art forms bring communities together. And so how does your plays do that?
I think because you have people, when it comes to the shows, you have people that go to church and people that don't go to church in one space. That's laughing, having a good time, enjoying themselves, and being fed. So you may have believers, non-believers, you know what I'm saying? You just have a mixture of everything in there, white, black, but just people are there for that 2 hours and they're having a good time.
Is that one of your goals?
Yeah.
To bring those 2 walks of life together?
My thing is this. I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like, I want my productions to be a safe space. You know what I'm saying? So that when people come in, it doesn't matter about, anything, like white, black, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the difference might be.
Politics,
just
anything.
Coming in, having a good time, getting fed, and going home, because like I always said, there's room at the cross for everybody. Yeah. Everybody. And that's where some people get it twisted, you know what I'm saying? But, for God so loved the world. And that's my thing. Like, I really want the shows to be a place where, all is welcome. All is, able to come in and have a good time. Yeah. And that's the reason why not saying that I would never do it again, but I tried my best to move them away from the church, because I know some people, when you do have events in a church, some feel comfortable, some don't. Yeah. So
kind of lose out on the audience a little bit.
You lose some of the ones who, you really want to feed, those who don't get fed any other way. Yeah. And I want to put it in a place where people can come and they don't feel the pressures of, oh, it's in a church. I've had a bad experience, with the church 10 years ago. I don't feel comfortable, which is fine. But, I still want to be able to feed them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to be able to encourage them, inspire them, and show them the love of Christ. So, yeah. Let me dial back. You should go to church.
Yeah.
I said it's fine, but you should go to church though. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
So how important is it to have, and I think we touched on this on the radio show episode a little bit.
Yeah.
But how important is it for there to be other mediums of, church content? Not just your typical pulpit and sermon.
It's important. It's very important because of the fact that everybody don't get fed the same way. Everybody don't come in contact with Jesus the same way. So you have to be unique with what you're giving, you know what I'm saying, to people who are lost. So you can't, and I love preaching. I do. But everybody may not feel the same way I feel about that. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be, when it comes to reaching, lost souls, you have to be creative with it.
Yeah.
And so you just can't be like, well, this is the way it's going to be, and that's only the way it's going to be. You got to find different ways to reach people, And now some of the ways I've seen is kind of like, okay, a little different, but I mean, you got to be unique with it. And, as long as you're not losing the meat of what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think.
The essence of it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So going back to the beginning, you started off singing.
Yeah.
And you started writing plays, right? So do you blend those two together? Like you have some people singing?
Oh, singing, yeah.
Singing, doing the plays?
Am I singing in,
No.
No.
Yeah. So you do blend those two art forms together?
I do, yeah. And I got some great singers in the shows. And it's some really, we do music as well, with the plays and stuff like that. Yeah. So we try to blend them.
So tell me the impact on one art form on the other. So like when you're developing your plays, your creative process.
Right. Well, I mean, like I said, blending them is not hard at all. Because like I said, when I'm writing a show, I can kind of hear what songs would be best for the show or whatnot. And then I got a great band, you know what I'm saying? So, and they bring all that creativity to life when it comes to me giving in, look, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is the script. So it's not really hard when it comes to blending music and, the shows together. And the thing that I like the most is the pre-show music. Because the pre-show music be really, that really gets people hyped, you know what I'm saying, to come and see the show. So that's something that I'm picking, you know what I'm saying, to make sure I got the right vibe when they come in so that, we get them in the right, spirit for the show coming up.
So are they playing that live?
So the band's not playing it live. It's just, music that, you hear in the car, you know what I'm saying, your phone, whatnot. So, but music is very important when it comes to the plays because that, I think, can make or break a show.
Yeah, music is almost like an additional character.
It is, yeah. And having the right singers for the songs and having the right, musicians to make sure you're playing the song correctly or right, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's very important.
So have there been any specific instances like in your plays where you like the music was just that emotional where it pulled the audience in?
Yes.
And you get some reactions?
At the last show we did at Destiny, Tamika, she did a song, Lord, It's in Your Hands, at the end of the production. And I never forget it. We did it at rehearsal and we knew that it was something special about that song, but we did it. And the last show, I think it was the second to last show or something like that there. And it was a church experience. Like that whole fourth wall was broken. And it was just, they were crying on stage and people, in the audience was standing up. It was like a church experience. You know what I'm saying? Like people forgot that they watching a play.
Yeah.
And it was just that, it was that involved, And then not only that, it happened in Raleigh too, because she had did a song, it was To God Be the Glory. And that was at the beginning of the show. Wow. And the same thing happened, you know what I'm saying? The Holy Spirit took over. So yeah.
That's what's up, man. Because I can see being able to add that in. So drawing similarities from, I think Tyler Perry has used like music in a form of his play.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call it a musical, right?
Right. And I wouldn't call mine musicals either.
So what's the difference? Because I know I've watched musicals before.
Yeah.
And how they use like, I guess, a song as a scene. But what is the difference between what we're seeing? I don't want to mess
this up because somebody might try to be like, that's not a musical. In my opinion, I think a musical is a song is being sung to me every 10 minutes.
Yeah. So the frequency is higher.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like how many songs is in the production.
Sometimes they're like acting it out, like they're singing their parts.
Yeah. And that's, to me,
like
that's
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah. So,
Gotcha.
But I could be
Gotcha.
wrong. But like I said, to me, that's just my opinion of a musical. When you got a song every 10 minutes, it seems like, yeah, that's a musical at that point.
Gotcha.
So yeah. But my show's not like that. I try to give music, but not so much.
Not
when
too
it's just
much.
kind of like,
Nice balance.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Dialogue too, so.
Being a creative person, I know when you add in different layers and other things and effects, right? It can add a layer of complexity, right? So tell me how challenging is it when you add music? You got the band, you got the singers, you got...
It can be challenging, but I thank God. Well, when I first got my band, I didn't know how I would, because I've been using tracks, you know what I'm saying, before I had the band. So I didn't realize how challenging it would be, you know, because sometimes I think when I say something, people's in my mind and they know what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm not the best at explaining myself to people. So that was a little challenge at first, because I'd be like, well, this is what I want. And they like, well, you got to tell me more than what you want. You got to give me a little bit more than just that, because I need to know exactly what you want. So that was a little challenging in the beginning. But once we kind of got that working relationship, it was easy from there, you know.
Okay.
So that, yeah, not too much, but like I said, when it came down to like it all,
Gotcha.
yeah.
All right, so let's walk back, right? You got some fans out there. You got people that creatives, some people that want to write plays tomorrow. Could you walk us through some steps? Like, what are, like, you know, should they start with the name? You know, so like developing a production company.
Yeah.
So what are some big steps on how they go about that?
Well, I think the first step, well, this is what I did. I think you should make sure that you want to do it. That's the biggest thing. And also make sure your money is right. I want to say that, because it's very expensive to do, you know what I'm saying, plays. And you got to provide for like a whole cast, band, and help. You know what I'm saying? So that, and the steps, just making sure you come up with a great script that people want to come and pay to see. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, at the end of the day, people are paying money to come and see a production. So you got to make sure what you're giving is worth what they're giving you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, and then also make sure you protect your brand at the end, like not saying things too early, you know, because when you say things too early, once it's out, it's out. You can't take it back. So making sure you done dotted every I, crossed every T, making sure, you know, on your end, things is legitimate before you just put it out there. Because people gonna hold you to what you say. Yeah, so and I've learned that, you know, that's why a lot of things stay confidential until I know for a fact
that you're about to drop.
It's gonna happen.
Gotcha. So walk me through the business part, like how you set up your, you know, your business entity or your name, trademark.
So before I released Daniel Barksdale Productions LLC, like I was doing all this stuff privately, and then when it all, you know, went through and everything was, you know, I got everything I needed, that's when I announced it officially.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So. To answer your question, I think I answered your question correctly. So yeah, that, you know, and just keep certain things private until it's time. Like I said, until it's time to talk about it. You know. Yeah. So yeah.
So do you recommend someone start like brainstorming with the name first and then getting that LLC trademark, or?
Brainstorming is very important. Yeah, I think brainstorming before you go that route. You know what I'm saying, to know exactly what you want. Okay. So yeah, that's what I would definitely do.
So with you being like Daniel Barksdale LLC, right? A lot of people think plays, but when I hear that, I think about anything. Like you can put on shows. So could you go over that?
And that's
like
what I wanted.
Like the perks of having a production company?
Yeah. And that's what I wanted, the name you had said. I didn't want it to just only relate to stage plays, because one day I wanted to relate to just anything, you know what I'm saying, that falls under that umbrella. Gotcha. So, yeah. Okay, so ask me a question. I'm sorry. I didn't want to.
Yeah, so yeah, like for somebody that's like, you know what, I want to do a production company, but they're thinking limited. So what else? Could you go over the things that production companies can do, or productions that they can put on?
Yeah, I mean, you know, plays, and I mean, it's, of course, TV, movies, you know, stuff like that, once it gets to that point. I mean, it's just unlimited, you know what I'm saying, the things that you can do when it comes to that. But just for right now, I'm doing theatrical plays.
But you didn't box yourself in with your name.
I didn't, you know, because I knew one day I pray the Lord will elevate me to be able to do bigger and greater things than just plays. So, and I didn't want the name to just be, you know, stuck to just one thing. I wanted to be able to go to wherever I'm doing it in that season, I should say. Okay.
Now, when you said protect the brand, right?
Yeah.
Why is that so important?
I think it's very important to protect the brand, because, like I said, if I say right now my next business venture in 2025 is going to be blah 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 blah, but they never secured anything, then somebody sees this, they can go and do it before I even get a chance to. And then when I do it, then it's theirs.
Gotcha. So
You know what I'm
coming
saying?
in second.
So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Especially, like I said, people just nowadays, I feel like they talk too much when it comes to great ideas and things that they really want to do for themselves. I'm like, just keep things, confidential until it's time to talk. And that's one thing I really tell my cast and anybody who works with me. They know that when it's time to talk, we will talk. But until then, we're not saying anything, because to have to go back and to say, oh, well, I know we said this, but it's going to really be this. It then gets people like, okay, well, they don't really know what they're doing. Because one day is this, one day is that. Just talk when it's time to talk. And especially when you got all your business done. Then definitely talk.
Yeah.
Because you got, some ground to stand on.
Okay. So what's a piece of advice for aspiring artists out there or aspiring playwrights, production creatives that you can give them? It's something that you've gained from just, from day one. You just like, okay, when I sit back, if I could go back, I would do this.
Well, I would say start small. You know what I'm saying? That's what I did. And I started in the church. It was literally at the altar. And the furniture I used was, the vestibule furniture in front of my church. We pulled that right to the altar and we had a plate right there. You know what I'm saying? I started small and I was thanking God for what I had at that time. And then when it was time to grow, I grew. So, I mean, the advice I would say is to definitely start small and making sure this is what you want to do. Because everybody who, has a vision in that moment, it may not be what you want to do for a lifetime.
Gotcha.
So, and I'm pretty sure, like I said, I'm grateful that I did start small, because had I just gone to where I'm at right now in the beginning, I don't think I would have been able to handle all of this.
So what are some common pitfalls that you see a lot of newcomers make?
I think probably just their eyes is too big for,
So what does that mean? Like go into that like a little deeper.
Like, it's like you're in it, you know what I'm saying? But then like, let's say like I see this person, down the street, they're doing a production and it's like a sold out, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, this is what I want, you know what I'm saying? But not realizing all the things that, you know what I'm saying, like that person had to go through in order to get to that sold out crowd. So they just immediately, instead of, like I said, starting small, they just go to the big theater, rent that out and say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And not realizing that, oh, well, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. Yeah. Not realizing all the stuff that has to happen before, you get to that point. So when your eyes are just so big and you see all of these possibilities and things in front of you, not realizing that all the work that it takes to get to that, it can kind of be a downfall. You got to make sure, like I said, in that moment, this is what I really want, or do I want to start small and work my way there so that along the way I can get the knowledge and everything that I need in order when I get there, I'm not fumbling.
Gotcha. So, okay. So give me like your most memorable moment, behind the scenes, funny moment, during, after.
So I start on time, and all my shows I aim to start on time. And sometimes I'm not rushing, but so one of our cities, we had somebody praying for us, and we were praying, and I was looking at the clock, and I was like, okay. So once the prayer got done, we had like 10 minutes or 15 minutes to kind of get everybody together. And mind you, the women, they had to put makeup on and get dressed. And the men, I mean, they were already ready. They had to throw on shoes. They ready to go. And I was like, okay. So we got everybody together in like less than 10 minutes up to the stage, ready to perform. And that was a crazy but memorable moment. But I was like, oh Lord, we might not start the show on time. Yeah. But it was pretty crazy. That's why we're doing a documentary for this new show, because I want people to see all the behind the scenes stuff, the craziness that happens, like, before we get to the stage. Because, we get there and we're like, all right, we're ready to do a show for you. But then people don't realize all the chaos that just happened, before we're here. So yeah.
So what's your most memorable, touching moment from an audience member? Something that hit you here.
Probably just someone coming up to me and just saying that, I think it was an abusive character in one of my shows, something like that. But they said that they had went through that and they had overcame it, and by separating themselves from that person. And they was crying when they told me that, and was just saying like, thank you so much for writing that character, because I know if I can overcome, somebody else who sees this can do the same thing too. But thank you for just telling, like I said, a real story. And that was like, wow, You know, I was just writing, like I said, what the Holy Spirit told me to write, but seeing someone say that they went through that and crying and really emotional, I was like, okay, Lord, you know, so if it's helping that one
Yeah,
person,
it's that
I
impact.
know it's helping whomever is watching behind that. So yeah.
Got you.
Sure, yes, sir.
So, and as you already know, you're on the Art of Reinvention show, right?
Yeah.
Reinvention plays a big part of our life, right?
Yeah.
So tell me what reinvention means to you.
Reinvention. To me, what it mean to you? Let me see what it mean to you.
Yeah. So
Because
so reinvention means to me is like change.
I was thinking along the lines
Change
of
for the
that.
better.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I think for me, I think life, we're constantly reinventing ourselves. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you got the brand. Then you have who are you? Like, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I think we are multifaceted characters. Your
Mm-hmm.
brother, your son, you know, your dad, you could be a co-worker, you know what I'm saying? But I think when you're reinventing, you're trying to be better than you were yesterday.
Right, right, right,
You know
right.
what I mean? So what does that mean to you? And how has the understanding of that helped your career evolve?
It's helped it a lot when it comes to, I like what you said, change. Because it's helped it a lot. Not going too in depth because, like I said, it's a long story. But I think it's really helped me a lot. I want to say the change, though, part of it, because I think every now and then we need to take inventory of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And just making sure that we're where we want to be. You know what I'm saying? Spiritually, mentally, physically,
Yeah.
and career wise. So it's really helped me a lot when I had the time to just kind of sit back and just kind of do that inventory of myself to see, okay, this is
So
where I want to be.
so give me a time that that you actually said, you know what, I need to change. I need to reinvent myself.
Mm-hmm.
And what triggered that?
A time, I mean, I guess when I did make the change from, and not to go back to the plays, but when I made the change from the church to the theater, you know, and that was something that I was like, it's time to reinvent, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because I saw myself going down the same old rabbit hole,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, doing the same old thing. And I said, it has to be a change with me, you know, when I do get into a brand new audience when it comes to, like I said, you got the church people, the non-church, the believers, and you have to change. You know what I'm saying? You have to really know what you're talking about in order to really reel people in when it comes to bringing them closer to the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So that was one of the moments I was like, okay, I got to step it up.
Okay.
You know, I got to dig in my word. You know what I'm saying? I got to spend that time with the Lord, although I do it. But, you know, you have to be intentional
Be intentional
about
with
these
it. Yeah.
things. You know what I'm saying? Especially when God is giving you this big platform. You have to know what you're saying. You have to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So that was a change that I know I needed when it came to that type of that switch.
Okay.
So yeah.
So when it comes to your future vision, I heard you say something about a new show. So
Mhm.
could you give me some detail if you can talk about that?
Yeah, yeah. So we got two brand new shows coming up, and one show, like I said, that I'm doing, and another show that someone else is doing. They're directing it for me. But both of these shows are really good, and they talk about just the importance of living life and enjoying life, and not just wasting time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or putting off what you could do today for tomorrow. You know, so they're really good shows. I will say that they're really, really good shows.
Will it
And
be in Lynchburg?
yeah, we always start off in Lynchburg. So we start off in Lynchburg, and then we go to different cities after that. So we do 3 shows in town, and then after that, that's when the tour starts, usually
Okay.
in the fall time. So, but the one that I'm doing will go on tour, but the one that the other young man is doing, just like me, we both young, but that won't be going on tour. That'll just be playing in one selected city for one
Gotcha.
weekend. So yeah.
So what's your dream project? If you had all the budget, you had all the actors, actresses,
Yeah.
music, no limitations.
Yeah.
What is your dream project?
Probably to do a movie. You know what I'm saying? To do a movie, but to do a movie of a play that I've done. And it'd probably be actually Sunday morning.
Sunday morning?
Yeah, because Sunday morning was a really, I mean, it was just a powerful play. And I saw how much it touched, you know, just people that came and saw the show. So it would probably be Sunday morning. If I had to do a movie, it would probably be that. And I would definitely want to do a movie when it comes to that play if I had the opportunity. So if it ever got that big, I would definitely love to go back around to Sunday morning. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So with everything is always, evolving and growing, right? And I'm pretty sure theater is too.
Mhm.
So how are you working to make sure that your productions are in line with the times?
By just, I think, staying connected to what's going on, because a lot of things you see you can write about because people are going through things every single day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just being aware of your surroundings and the struggles that people are facing, you can write a good story about that. You know what I'm saying? And then try to help someone in order to overcome it. So to me, that's how my productions stay with what's going on. You know what I'm saying? To see all the struggles and the problems that's going on, writing something that can try to help somebody along the way when it comes to when they're facing it or if they're going to face it. So,
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something that I try to do when it comes to that.
Okay. So when it comes to your message to the world, right? You got a platform. Could you sum up what that message is in one sentence?
Yes.
Making you think tonight.
Yeah. But honestly, that's a good question. My message to the world.
Yep.
About my platform.
In one sentence. If you could sum it up in one sentence, and why is it so important?
Yeah. Can I do a word? If that's okay.
That's fine.
It would have to be love.
Love?
It would have to be love, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that's what I want my platform to be about. You know what I'm saying? It's just love. Just love people. You know what I'm saying? And just, and that's my biggest thing. That's what I try to do. I just try to just show them the love of Christ.
Okay.
And that's, when people come into a rehearsal or anything that I'm doing, I feel like people can feel that off the bat. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're on good ground. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we should be as Christ followers anyway. We're loving people. May not agree with everything they do.
Yeah.
May not, like everything they do. But loving, you know what I'm saying? Just love. And I want that to be my brand, my platform, everything. When you hear Daniel Barksdale Productions and if you work with me or whatever, I don't want anybody to say anything negative or be like, he was mean, he's this in front of camera, but he's that way. Just love, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's why I try my hardest. You like the Chick-fil-A workers. When you go, Chick-fil-A, they like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't never run into a bad Chick-fil-A employee. I ain't never ran into a bad Chick-fil-A employee. But it's just like that. It's just the love.
It's like very rare, right?
It's very rare. But it's just the love that they show, you know what I'm saying? That they give off, So they could be having a bad day, but you'll never know it.
Never know it.
So that's the thing. I think when it comes to my brand, I just want, it to be all about love.
Okay. So you've been traveling, started local, you travel on tour, you deal with a lot of folks, you deal with musicians, you deal with different actors and actresses. So I would say you're influencing people, right? So I'm gonna throw a word at you and you tell me what it means, not the Webster definition, but the Daniel Barksdale definition. Influencer. What does that mean to you?
I think somebody who has a big influence on people when it comes to what they say and what they do, moving the needle. So
moving the needle.
Yeah. And that's what I think about that. The definition. Yeah.
Do you consider yourself an influencer?
In this present time, today?
Yep.
I'm 50-50.
Now, not social media influencer, just influencer.
Well, then, yes, I do. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm very aware of my surroundings at all times. Because that's the biggest thing. Somebody always watching. You know what I'm saying? So I will say yes in that sense. Yes.
Okay. Good answer. So when we're talking about your playwrights and you're moving from downtown to going on tour, where is a city that you would like to go?
That I haven't been?
Yeah.
Anywhere in California.
Anywhere in California.
I'm anywhere in California. I would love to. My fault.
You good?
I went this net. You see the net flying around. Y'all may not see it, but it's a net flying around. But probably all this cologne I got on. That's probably why. I'm like, Lord Jesus. But California. Anywhere in California. And the reason why is because of the fact that I went over to the West Coast and it's just a different vibe over there. It's just a different vibe, So anywhere in California, I'd be cool with it. Yeah. But a place that I would like to go back that I've been is definitely to Atlanta.
Definitely to Atlanta.
Atlanta is one of my favorite cities, hands down.
Yeah.
Definitely to Atlanta. I would love to go back to Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got your new show that's coming out, so people can probably tune in.
Yeah.
At some point in time to figure out when and where and the what. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would say if as we end the actual show, if you had a message to give to people out there, and I always say this, if somebody is watching this show that might be thinking about giving up, taking their life or whatnot, what message, if you could look in your camera, would you want to give them?
And like I said earlier in the interview, better days are ahead. And it looks probably rough right now, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're in the thick of things and someone's saying all of these, don't give up and better days are coming. But truly, better days are ahead, and and it's all about who you surround yourself with too, when it comes to what you're going through, because people's words can really mean a lot when you're going through things. You don't want no negative person around you, especially when you're already mentally not there, physically or however spiritually. You want your people around you to be people that is encouraging you, inspiring you, praying for you, respecting the time that you might need to not even be bothered. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say. Better days are ahead, and just like you hear it all the time, just don't give up and just stay the course, because you just never know what's around the corner.
Powerful words.
Yeah,
Powerful words.
most definitely. So, that's how I feel about that.
Powerful words. So for people who want to follow you, like how do they find you?
DanielBarksdale.com. That's everything. The social media links, DanielBarksdale.com, the tickets, subscribe to the mailing list. That's a great way to know when new shows are coming, because when the emails alert you of a new show that's about to happen, the tour dates on DanielBarksdale.com. So yeah, just that, DanielBarksdale.com. It gets you a link to everything.
Man, we look forward to seeing you. We look forward to following you, watching you grow.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Man, thank you.
Thank you. Your second time around for the brand. I appreciate you taking the time out.
Yes.
So like I said, folks, as you're going through life, like Daniel said, better times are ahead. So no matter what it looks like now, keep looking forward, and you got to have faith that things will turn around, because it is. And you're going through this thing that you're in, whatever that thing is, for a very reason. And whether that's to get, an attribute to you so you can grow, reinvention, or whatever the case may be, you just keep hanging in there, because trust me, when there is light on the other end of the tunnel, I know it may be dark if you're halfway in there, but just hold to the faith, never stop believing in God. And as I always say, one love, but it's your choice to be blessed.
All right.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy TeflonJohn, and I would like to personally thank you for listening to this episode of the Art of Reinvention Podcast Show. Follow us on social media on TikTok at the Reinvention Podcast, YouTube at the Art of Reinvention Talk Show, and Instagram at the Art of Reinvention Podcast. And you can hit us up at www.teflonjohn.com. That's John spelled John for all motivational content in Teflon Radio. And again, as I always say, one love, but it's your choice to be blessed.